All right, hello everybody. I'm Chase Mitchell. I'm an assistant professor at ETSU, East Tennessee State University. I'm sorry I can't be there today in person, but I hope this recording will suffice. I'll just jump right into my paper. It's titled "More Than the Sum: Reclaiming Encounter in an Artificial World." In the past year, new product releases in artificial intelligence have enchanted the blogosphere. One program that's made an especially big impression is OpenAI's ChatGPT. Much of the popular discourse has centered on potential repercussions in terms of its professional application, such as how jobs will be affected or made obsolete. Others are concerned with the ethical ramifications of deploying AI in various contexts. A Texas judge, for instance, recently ordered that all AI-generated content must be declared and checked before litigation can begin. Many in the field of education, too, are grappling with how students and teachers can or should use AI tools in the classroom. Beyond these kinds of practical, economic, and ethical considerations, artificial intelligence raises philosophical questions about the nature of personhood. Some ChatGPT users have reported feeling as though they've encountered real sentience when using the program. Sophisticated AI's ability to mimic humans in seemingly authentic ways engenders questions like who or what constitutes a person, where does the human end and the machine begin, and does it matter? For the most part, though, even users who recognize the algorithm's ability to produce human-like responses continue to reserve unique status for humans themselves. Most people, that is, at least for now, continue to attribute unique qualities to personal encounter. It seems to me, though, that most attempts to differentiate between man and machine don't establish clear terms for doing so. In other words, we reserve a special place for our own species, but we aren't very good at articulating why. If we're going to claim that humans are special, and I think we are, we need to think that claim through more clearly. The insights of media ecology can help us in this regard. But first, I must address the language of humanism and transhumanism, two movements that have tried and I suggest have failed to preserve the idea of personhood. Humanism is, quote, an outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural matters. Humanism discards divine revelation in favor of human agency and rationalism, but in doing so creates a paradox. By flattening the ontological landscape, we render ourselves, quote, meat machines. Without knowing it, many postmodern Westerners cling to a Cartesian dualism that, in their minds at least, resolves humanism's apparent paradox, i.e., mind over matter, but also, science. To put it another way, materiality matters, but not in our gray matter. Some, on the other hand, try to salvage free will by appealing to the indeterminate nature revealed to us by quantum mechanics, i.e., if indeterminacy applies to matter, it might also apply to the mind. That may be true, but even if it is, there's no scientific reason to afford the human mind the arbitrating powers over that indeterminacy. In other words, from a materialistic point of view, to say that human decision-making is the driving force behind the events of not only this universe, but others too, as multiverse theory suggests, can only be wishful thinking. In any case, whether we have no power or all the power, humanism posits that absent a higher power, transcendence is up to us. Humanism, then, is inadequate to address the question of personhood in the face of AI tech, because despite its claim that human agency is what sets us apart from machines, its flattened ontology rebuffs the Cartesian dualism upon which that agency rests. If old-fashioned humanism doesn't help us in the AI debate for its intellectual inconsistency, transhumanism fails us for other reasons. Transhumanism is, quote, a philosophical and scientific movement that advances the use of current and emerging technologies, such as genetic engineering, cryonics, artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology, to augment the human capabilities and improve the human condition. Whereas humanism locates personhood in humans' capacity for detached reason, humanism seeks to redefine the relationship between personhood and technology at the ontological level. Transhumanists want to merge man and machine. Like humanism, transhumanism also lionizes humanity, but it attempts to do so by transcending material shackles through technological innovation and integration. In this sense, transhumanism is more consistent and more honest than its philosophical forebear, because it doesn't posit an ethereal human quality to retain humanity's ontological primacy. Instead, the transhumanist argues, like Matt Damon's character in the movie The Martian, that, quote, in the face of overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm going to have to science the shit out of this, close quote. For the transhumanist, transcendence is not found by discounting matter, but by using it as a fulcrum. In a recent article about ChatGPT for The Atlantic, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman writes, quote, technology is the thing that makes us, us. Through the tools we create, we become neither less human nor superhuman nor post-human. We become more human, close quote. Hoffman says he is more of a techno-humanist than a transhumanist, the former being supposedly less enraptured with the latter designs to evolve into an entirely new species. But with the latter's designs to evolve into an entirely new species of post-humans or superhumans, but his assertion that technology qualifies our very humanity, that it's what makes us us, sounds suspiciously transhumanist. Whatever he calls himself, though, Hoffman is bullish about ChatGPT's potential for good, as are many other prominent tech leaders. Transhumanist ideals, and those are super intelligence, super longevity, and super well-being, comport with what Kevin Healy and Robert Woods have called the moral catechism of Silicon Valley. The catechism is a set of implicit propositions that have emerged from and are perpetuated by Silicon Valley's technologist ethos. The propositions include information is wisdom, transparency is authenticity, convergence is integrity, processing is judgment, and storage is memory. These false yet widely held assumptions reinforce transhumanist ethics. Artificial intelligence is welcomed by those who fail to see the problem of conflating technological capacities with human virtues, as these propositions do. But the primary challenge that comes with ChatGPT and other AI tech, I suggest, is not ethical concerns as they relate to the tool's applications. Rather, the key consideration is what these kinds of technologies say about personhood. AI ethics are determined by pre-existing notions of what it means to be human. The enthusiasm with which ChatGPT has been received is due in part to secularism's implicit claim that the reality we experience is merely the sum of nature's parts. It follows, if that is the case, that a tool like artificial intelligence should be integrated as far as possible into the fabric of human experience. If man is mere matter, composite energy and mass on par with, say, a walrus, then there's no reason we shouldn't increase our intelligence, extend our life, and improve our health by any technological means necessary, even if that means fundamentally reimagining what it means to be human. The technologist doesn't stop to ask, that is, how we distinguish who we are from what we are. And so, to preserve personhood in the face of ever-advanced machine learning and to reclaim human encounter, we must understand and acknowledge that, unlike a machine, a person is more than the sum of her natural makeup. She is indeed a physical being, but she's not merely composite material. There's more to consider, and I suggest that the theoretical insights of key media ecology figures can play a vital role in reclaiming personhood in the AI debate. While several thinkers are relevant to this discussion, I'll focus here on the theoretical resources afforded by James Carey. I can only briefly address Carey's relevant insights, but in doing so, hope to begin a longer discussion about media ecology and AI. Carey was a devout Roman Catholic, and his faith informed his media ecology theorizing. At the most basic level, the Christian view posits that man and woman are made in the image of God. The human is sacred and ontologically superior to the rest of creation because she reflects something of the uncreated divinity within the created order. Personhood is derived, that is, not from nature, but from supernature. In Christianity, supernature does not exclude or discount nature. Instead, the supernatural co-inheres the natural. The transcendent God, who descends to us in the flesh and blood person of Jesus, affirms the goodness of the created order while also revealing its brokenness and imperfection as the result of fall. Because of the incarnation, Christians value the material, but look beyond it to its spiritual source, sustainer, and redeemer. This tension is not dialectic, but anagogic. Anagogy refers to, quote, modes of consciousness that move at the literal and most outward level from awareness of the material reality to the most interiorly experienced, acquired directly through supernatural experience, close quote. In other words, the anagogical is concerned with how things extend beyond themselves, even if incompletely or imperfectly, to an order that exceeds them. Carey's media ecological insights speak into this liminal anagogic space and can inform the AI discourse. His ritual view of communication proposes that people groups construct, represent, maintain, adapt, and share symbolic realities. Carey's faith shaped his ideas in this regard. He contended that, quote, communication is less about secular goals of sending and receiving messages per se than it is about the inherently sacred practice of responsibly establishing cosmos out of chaos, close quote. Carey framed human interaction in teleological terms. When we interact with one another, that is, we do so in ways that either point others toward or direct them away from the purposed end or telos for which humans are created. Trinitarian theology and Carey's ritual view says that we are designed to share in communion in the present moment, to abide in material and spiritual fellowship as they co-inhere one another, and in so doing be drawn into the, quote, upward inducing way. Carey would probably be wary of ChatGPT's transformative effects. If personhood is rooted in humans' connection to the divine, but Western culture has assumed an ideological posture that untethers human nature from supernature, then there's no ontological justification for differentiating between human persons and those technologies that mimic human capacities. Because machines aren't made in imago Dei, in the image of God, they're not equipped to perceive spiritual reality, no matter how sophisticated their algorithms. To put it another way, machines aren't sacramental. They're unable to discern material signs in ways that point to immaterial reality. Only humans, only we have the capacity to do that. When we offload our communicative activities to AI, we're foregoing a critical element of what makes us human. If, as Carey suggests, our symbolic ritual interactions are the very means by which we're drawn into anagogic vision, when we discount tasks like writing as best left to artificial intelligence, we're voluntarily amputating part of our spiritual apparatus. Communication isn't just horizontal, but horizontal and vertical. It's cross-shaped, if you like. By giving away the privilege of writing, we're reinforcing the moral catechism of Silicon Valley and abandoning the supernatural purpose for which we've been created. My argument here isn't to suggest that there's never appropriate context for using AI tech. I can imagine scenarios in which ChatGPT and other tools can be deployed in ways that don't dispel the notion of personhood or obscure human encounter. I don't mean to be overly dramatic, and of course, not everything portends apocalypse. Moving forward, I only suggest that we mine media ecology for its intellectual and spiritual resources to articulate a countercultural narrative, one that pushes back against prevailing ideological winds, movements that profoundly, if subtly, are reshaping how we think about personhood, identity, and technology. Understand that recent developments in the West could make such theorizing difficult. Still, I think it's a discussion worth having. Thank you.